You know, we spend so much time and energy making our homes feel safe, right? We worry about all the things we can see. But what if the biggest danger is actually invisible? Today, we're going to talk about something that could be lurking in your house right now, and believe me, it is way more serious than you probably think. We're talking about household mold. I mean, really think about that for a second. We've all got smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, all for threats we hope never happen. But what if one of the biggest threats to your health is silent, you can't see it, and it could be growing right under your nose as we speak? So, how does this invisible threat even get started? Well, it's not as complicated as you might imagine. It really just takes a few common things coming together to create, well, a perfect storm, turning a part of your home into the perfect little factory for mold. It really boils down to this simple trifecta: rain, humidity, and heat. When you get all three of those, especially after a period of really heavy rain, you're not just dealing with a little bit of damp. You're basically rolling out the red carpet for a huge fungal outbreak. It's got all the moisture and warmth it needs to just explode. And this is where it gets really sneaky. Yeah, you might spot a little bit on a ceiling or in the back of a cupboard, but the real problem is often where you can't see it at all. Mold expert Vince Neal points out that it loves to grow in places like inside your wall cavities, spreading like crazy, completely hidden from view. Okay, so if you can't always see it, how in the world are you supposed to know if you've got a problem? Well, it's time to start trusting your senses. Turns out, your body is pretty good at picking up the clues. The number one giveaway? Your nose. That distinct, musty smell. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You leave the house closed up all day, you walk back in, and it just smells off. That is not just an old house smell. Experts say that smell is a huge red flag for an underlying microbial problem. That means a whole little ecosystem of mold and bacteria is alive and growing. And what's really wild is that mold isn't even the first thing to show up to the party. After any kind of water damage, a leak, a flood, whatever, bacteria can start multiplying in as little as 2 to 3 hours. So you're not just dealing with one thing, you're often up against a whole cocktail of nasty microbes. All right, this brings us to the most important part of this whole discussion: what this stuff actually does to your health. A lot of people just brush mold off as something that triggers a few allergies, but the danger goes so much deeper than that. Let's start with what most people are familiar with. Yes, of course, mold exposure can trigger asthma. It can make you cough, it can cause shortness of breath. These are the classic respiratory symptoms we've all heard about. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. Here is where the danger just escalates, like tenfold. See, mold and bacteria, they don't just sit there. They release these chemicals into the air called volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. And these aren't just little irritants. These airborne chemicals are so tiny, they can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, which means they can directly mess with your neurological system. And once those chemicals get into your system, the effects can be absolutely devastating. We're not talking about a little sniffle here. We're talking about serious memory loss, inflammation in your brain and your lungs, a kind of chronic fatigue that you just can't shake no matter how much you rest, and constant headaches. These are major health issues that go way beyond a simple cough. And if you want to know just how bad it can get, just listen to this from the expert Vince Neal. He explains that long-term exposure can cause the brain's cortical gray matter to atrophy. That means it literally shrinks. And he says the damage is, quote, very similar to alcohol. Just let that sink in for a minute. The damage happening to your brain from mold can actually mirror the effects of long-term alcohol abuse. Okay, I know that was a lot, and it's pretty alarming stuff. But here's the good news. You are not powerless here. There is a simple, really effective game plan for taking back control and protecting your home. Here it is. The best advice really boils down to these three key things. Number one, keep your home dry. Moisture is the lifeblood of mold. Get rid of it. Number two, keep it clean. This helps get rid of mold spores before they have a chance to settle down and grow. And number three, keep it ventilated. Good airflow is your best friend because it stops moisture from building up in the first place. That's it. Dry, clean, and ventilated. And hey, here's one last pro tip for you on keeping things dry, especially if you live somewhere humid. Seriously consider getting a good dehumidifier. It's such a simple tool that literally pulls moisture right out of the air, making your home a much less friendly place for mold to set up shop. So, we'll leave you with this one final thought. You check the batteries in your smoke alarm all the time to protect your family from a threat you can see.
But isn't it time we started paying just as much attention to the invisible quality of the very air we breathe every single day?